Hey folks, welcome back to Game Geeks. I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Today's episode, we are talking about a really sexy, and it's a little game, but there's a whole heck of a lot in this book we got to talk about. Mothership. It is a sci-fi horror role-playing game, which I think is an undermined subgenre of the field. It's called Mothership, and it's by Tuesday Night Games. Now, this book itself is all you need to play. Well, obviously, DM, players, some dice, etc. But it's $15. And believe it or not, everything you need is in there. What this game supposes is that it is a universe very similar to cinematic sci-fi horror we've seen before. When I read through this, I got this very, very strong event horizon, Infini, Pandorium, the Dead Space games, this vibe off of these games, that the universe is ancient and there are things out there that don't like us and that are unfriendly, or at the very least don't give a crap and will run us over given the opportunity. It is a fairly simple game. It is percentile driven. But the cool thing about it is how much content is contained in, frankly, this really small little book. I mean, you're looking at 40 pages maximum here, and it gives you everything from character creation to a very interesting and detailed sanity and fear system. And one of the more clever things about it is if someone in your party goes crazy or gets really scared, it can be infectious to everyone else around them. Not in a literal fear virus, but more of a, oh crap, they're bugging out, maybe I should be too. So it's very easy for the entire party to sort of descend into this spiral of insanity when faced with these eldritch, unknowable, universal horrors. In terms of how the game itself is set up, one of the nicer things about this is character creation, combat, ship design, and everything are all very cleanly laid out on these flowcharts for you to follow. So this is your character sheet right here. And it clearly presents to you everything you need to play in this game in a very non-complicated format. There are 4 stats: strength, speed, intellect, and combat. And then there are 4, I hesitate to call them classes, but they're sort of occupations or what you do as a member of a spaceship crew out there. There's the Teamster, who is sort of your laborer, who probably has the most diversity at the beginning of the game. An android who is cold, calculating, and tends to really put a lot of other people on edge. A scientist and a marine. And then from there, you get modifications to your stats, and then you get saving throws for everyone that come from each one of these classes. And the saving throws are sanity, which is sort of your oh wow, the universe isn't what I thought it was. What's that? Oh God, it's alive. Fear, which is more your personal, emotional isolation sort of problem. Body, which is health and speed. And armor, which is your resistance to damage. That last one can be modified by actually wearing armor. So all of these are percentile based, like I said. Every one of those classes all has its own way of dealing with stress and panic around them. For instance, if you're around an android, fear saves made in the presence of an android have disadvantage, which gives you you take the worst of 2 percentile rolls. Or if it's a scientist, whenever you fail a sanity save, somebody nearby you gains stress. More on that in a moment, because hey, if the really smart guy can't rationalize what's going on, what business do I have being here? Skill-wise, your base skills are determined by that class, plus a few extra points for you to modify as you'd like. There are trained skills, expert skills, and master skills. The trained skills add 10% to the appropriate stat, expert 15, and master 20. And it's a fairly complicated but very easy to understand flowchart of what skills lead you through over to the master level. For example, if you want to start with mechanical repair as your basic skill, that can lead you into a vehicle specialization or engineering for expert in your expert rank, and then engineering can lead you into robotics, and vehicle specialization can lead you into command. One of the more subtle things that I think is very telling about the setting that I found absolutely delightful was that art, archaeology, and theology can lead you into mysticism. Okay, well, that makes sense. But mysticism can lead you into a deeper understanding of hyperspace. So again, there's that whole layer of the universe is a lot deeper and not as bound by the rules of physics as we want it to be. You're also at a real disadvantage. You're very squishy in this game. It's very easy to get hurt, and it's very easy to die. Now, there's two ways for this to happen. There's physical damage, which is based off of your strength. That's essentially your hit points as well. As you take damage, that goes down. If you get to the point where you've hit 0 hit points, you have to make a body save or you die. Now, strength, like I said, strength is your hit points. The average stat on this, it's roll 60-10, so assume about a 30. For instance, your standard slug thrower handgun does 3d10 points of damage, so it's very possible for you to die from a shot from just a regular pistol. The bigger the gun, the more damage it does, obviously. So after all of this, it gives you great rules on combat, on fear, on sanity, all of those rules. There's also a really well done section on Starship Design, Starship Life, and Starship Combat. Also packed into this same little 40-page book. So when you design your ship, there are modules that you use, which are essentially rooms or large functions. It assumes that you have a hyperdrive, and it assumes that when you're in hyperspace, your characters are in cryo. The only one that tends not to be is the android, because they're still awake running the ship. And so the different parts of the ship all have different purposes. There are a variety of weapons that you can choose from. And I'll be very honest with you, for $15, this is a complete dark science fiction horror role-playing game for you to get your hands on. Now, at the time of this filming, this game is nominated for several ENnie Awards for the 2019 ENnie Awards program. So it's nominated for Best Rules, Best Game, and Product of the Year. And folks, it is very, very worthy of every single one of those. I think had there been any additional setting information, it probably could have gone in for Best Setting too. But it's left very wide open for everyone to pick from. Now, there is a supplement for this, one called Dead Planet. Now, this is a slightly larger book, although not by a heck of a lot. It's an adventure, although truly it's much more of a campaign setting. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about it, other than to tell you it has a very Dead Space feel with a lot more role-playing opportunity than you'd expect. One of the things about this particular game, though, is it tells you right up front is please rip this apart, hack it, use it for whatever you want to do. So this is also nominated for Best Adventure for the ENnies for 2019. So frankly, this is a fantastic game. Go out and get it. It's $15 for the core game. You cannot go wrong with this. If you like science fiction, if you like dark sci-fi and horror, this is your one-stop shop for that genre. It is a very straightforward game. There's not a lot of crunch to it. There's enough swing that it can be very dangerous and very deadly, which I think makes it very interesting. So if you're interested in this, take my word for it. Run out and get this. And if you like what you've heard, go vote for it for the ENnies. It deserves all the awards that it's nominated for. For Game Geeks, I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Good day and good gaming.